Okay, here comes question 2. Get ready. What percentage of the floods happening around the world occur in Asia? You've got 20 seconds.
Okay, almost everyone has put their answers. I think 2 or 3 more people to come. And the time is up. Now let's see. And... oh!
Only one person got that correct.
Okay, you can go and fight with your colleagues who made the questions.
Okay, so we're moving on to question 3. So how many people from countries in the HKH region have migrated from their homelands?
Okay, just a few more people to answer. Be fast, you only have 1 second.
You get more points for answering quickly. Yeah, you do. You get more points. Ooh, 7 people got that correct.
Okay, I think maybe there will be some appealing after this one.
Okay, coming on to question 4. Don't forget you get extra points for answering really quickly. You do. So how many people in the HKH region lack basic access to electricity?
Okay, you're very fast on that one. I don't know if it's because all of you know or whether everyone guessed. Okay, let's see whether 100... No!
Whoa. So 400
million. I think we're down to the last question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final question in the quiz, and then we'll announce the winner at the closing ceremony this afternoon. So get ready for the last question. The quicker you answer, the more points you get. Did dinosaurs ever live in the Himalayas?
Thirty-four contestants now. Yes, and everyone has answered. No. And that is correct. Okay, all right.
Excellent. Okay. So we will give you the results and announce the winner or winners in the closing session this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed the quiz.
And now we move to the next session. Can we invite Flip, I think, Philip Wester, to please come to the stage to introduce the next session, a very important session where all of you will be drafting the Mountain Action Agenda.
Thank you, Miriam, and welcome to this Harnessing Synergies, let me see the official title, Harnessing Synergies Towards the HKH Resilient Agenda. What we want to do in these next 1.5 hours is work with you interactively to further refine an action agenda for a resilient HKH. So the thinking is all the discussions we've had over the past few days, we've been harvesting that. And we've been harvesting that. There's been a drafting committee of around 20 people, plus session hosts and session rapporteurs, and taking action points from all the discussions you've had. In addition, there was a Menti exercise yesterday to generate ideas. So these have all been put together into a working draft, and what we would like to do the coming 1.5 hours is share this with you, this draft, and have a lot of discussions to move it forward. And there's basically the idea is that we co-create this agenda, and this is not an agenda to give to somebody else. This is an agenda for ourselves, how we want to take things forward in building a resilient HKH. So it's the commitments we in this room make based on this conference how in the next 2, 3 to 4 years we contribute to a resilient HKH. So it's very much co-creation. It's your agenda, it's our agenda, and there's no right or wrong. And I don't know what happened, but okay. So that's what we want to do. And I'll get into the details, and the facilitators here will help us with managing this session and facilitating it. But there's two things. There's three things. We've identified 11 high-level action items. Yeah? And here you can see the first one, strengthen regional global voice of HKH region and its people, including youth. So that's kind of the big ticket main message action item. We have 11 of those, right? Again, this is all based on the input you have given and the discussions we've had over the past 3 days. So what we'll be doing is going into 11 groups and taking a good look at whichever one is at your table, and then thinking a bit more, take a few minutes to discuss what needs to be done. Or, because you'll see a lot of bullets underneath which give more detailed action items. But, because I sent this to David this morning, and he wrote back, said, Flip, the action agenda is too long. Make it shorter and crispier. And I like that. We should have maximum of 5 bullets per action item, right? Because if you go beyond that, it becomes a long list, and then who's going to do it, right? So we really need that 4 or 5 crispy, good action items that we want to work on. Then, what can you contribute? Or what can your organization contribute? Or what are you already doing to realize this action? So that will be at the group table discussions. I'm not going to show you all 11. You'll see that at the tables. And just choose which one you want to go to have your in-depth discussions. I will, however, just to let you make your choice. So table 1 is on strengthening global voice. Table 2 is on HKH calling, on a regional awareness to action campaign. 3 is encouraging mass promotion of resilience building technologies. 4, promoting strengthening corporations at all levels. 5 is strengthening capacity at all scales, governance. 6, we want to allocate significantly more resources to resilience building. 7, incubation of businesses and cadres of mountain entrepreneurs. 8 is on encouraging innovative use of ICT, RS, and GSS technologies. And 9 is building long-term and short-term funding arrangements that are consistent, flexible, and responsible. 10, significantly accelerate gender transformative change as a prerequisite for a resilient HKH. And 11, invest in mountain youth, engage and empower them. So that went really fast. We'll be going to the large tent outside. And there's 11 tables there. I hope you memorize the 11 action items I just read to you. And then you go to the table that you feel most passionate about, and then have discussions there. We'll be giving you 20, 25 minutes, and there's 2 things you can do there. First, quickly review the action item. Don't get into wordsmithing, don't get into details. Just quickly review, is there anything urgent missing that you really think needs to be included? Or is there stuff that can be deleted to make it more crisp and actionable and doable? And then, Andrew and Miriam are going to help us. We're going to shift after 20 or 25 minutes, and you get to go to another table and then repeat. 2 things there. 1, clarity on the action item. 2, what can you contribute, or how do you want to take this forward, or what would be a plan to make this happen? We have table hosts. And we have a pretty empty room. I was hoping we'd have 300 people, because it would be exciting to have this action item and how to take things forward. So I'm hoping the table hosts are here. So I'm going to read your name. You don't know yet you're the table host. I'm going to read your name. Please put up your finger so I can make sure you're here, or stand up. So table 1, Arjumund? No? So who could do table 1 for us? None? Who can do table 1 for us? Aaron? Aaron Wolf, you have not been nominated as table host of table 1. Great. 2 is Bjorn. Is Bjorn here? Yes, Bjorn, great. You're doing table 2. Don't forget 2. Drupad, table 3. Drupad. Oh, he's not into action mode. Okay. Kanchan, table 4. Babu, table 5. No Babu. Roshina, I saw you. Yes, table 6. Flip. Oh, that's me. Table 7. Clemens. Clemens? Yes. Okay, table 8. Su Yufang. You are at table 9. Toshi Dorji? No, it's table 10. Nand, you are table 11. So we're missing 3 tables. We'll solve that as we go along. So I think we can now...
Well, just a moment.
We can now move out, but you'll let us...
Yeah, I'm going to say something.
Yeah, he's in 2 with Bjorn. Okay. Bridge is in 2, and Bjorn, you're on 3.
Okay, so just to recap what we're going to do. You're going to move next door in just a moment into the tented area and discuss these 11 action agenda items. What we'd like you to do is to either add something that you feel is missing, delete things which you feel have been repeated or are unnecessary, and then also think about what your organisation or what you are currently doing to forward these action agenda items, or what you might be thinking of doing in the future. That information is at each of the tables. Just before you go, I'm going to read through the 11 items one more time. Can you listen quite carefully and think about which 2 you are most interested in discussing, and maybe make a mental note or a physical note of the numbers of those 2 tables. Okay? So I'll read through them one more time, quite slowly. Think about which tables you wish to sit at. You'll have about 20 minutes discussion on each of your 2 chosen items. So, item number 1, strengthen the regional and global voice of the HKH region and its people, including youth. Number 2, HKH Calling, a regional awareness to action campaign. Number 3, encourage mass promotion of resilience-building technologies and solutions that are proven to be simple, affordable, and replicable. Number 4, promote and strengthen cooperation at all levels across the HKH region through the co-creation of knowledge for resilience building and sustainable mountain development. Number 5, strengthen and build capacity at all scales of governance and interlinkages to facilitate resilience building. Number 6, allocate significantly greater resources to resilience building, including incentives for conservation of mountain ecosystem services and equitable benefit sharing. Number 7, support the incubation of businesses and the formation of cadres of mountain entrepreneurs and business leadership, particularly among women and youth. Number 8, encourage the use of innovative ICT, RS and GSS technologies for data and information generation and sharing. Number 9, build short and long-term funding arrangements that are consistent, flexible and responsible. We're nearly there. Number 10, significantly accelerate gender transformative change as a prerequisite for a resilient HKH. And finally, number 11, invest in mountain youth. Engage and empower them in building a resilient HKH. So I hope you've all chosen which is the first table you'd like to visit. If you can't remember the number, all of the numbers and all of this information is in there. So can I ask you all to please stand up in a moment? Yes?
Thanks. Just quickly, table session host. After we finish there, we'll have about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
We will come back here, and each of you will be asked to give a 2-minute summary of the 2 or 3 main points that transpired at your table.
Okay, so if you could all stand up, exit through those doors, go down the steps and into the tent, and find your table.
Terus sistem cila beli dulu mana? The pen drive review, all I think. Pen drive mah pick up.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Please, everyone, don't sit in the back. Please, everyone, come as much to the front as you can. Yeah, so don't go sit in the back. Just take up the first rows.
Okay, shall we make a start, everyone? So what we're going to have now are some 2-minute summaries from the table hosts on those action agenda items. So just the essence of your discussion. We're quite tight for time, so I'm afraid either myself or Miriam will stop you after 2 minutes. We'll go through them in chronological order. You can speak from where you're sitting. We'd prefer it if you stood, but you can stay where you are. Or you can come up to the dais, speak from the podium. You can speak from wherever you like, really. So let's begin then with table host number 1. And table 1 was looking at strengthening the regional and global voice of
a very diverse indigenous and local knowledge, which in isolation. So ICIMOD kind of organization can look into these two notions and end them. So that's point number 2. Point number 3 is there is the governance and resilience. They are interlinked in a sense that one is an outcome on another one. So a good governance will lead to a good resilience and vice versa. But there is less research on scientific research on how does that happen. So that's the 3 points.
Thank you. So you have India and Pakistan collaborating over here, so it can be done. I'm just sharing the how to do all this. And the how is, one, we strengthen governance at local and national level. So that capacity building, we were all agreed in group that is required. Second is form professional organizational task teams to lobby the government. So by professional, we mean organizations like ICIMOD and other organizations working. So we form a task team. We already have the time frame. And within forming these groups, we also recommend forming mountain youth groups to lobby.
Making sure the investment that has been made on actions, and also the pledge investments, both from private and public sector, are indeed climate resilient actions. So that was the very important first key point. And the second key point was the importance of not just promoting, advocating large-scale investment, but it's important to be supported by a small-scale investment including from the private sector. And on the private sector, we also made a point that the CSR component of private sector needs to have a climate resilience angle. The third point was about ensuring that the adequate investment in terms of the community scale investment encompasses women, youth, and focusing on both the awareness and capacity building, as well as the innovations such as focusing on the entrepreneurship, and we focus explicitly on the renewables project, for example. And one of the points we also talked sort of was to ensure that we have, we need investments and perhaps a new investments to ensure that the resources are allocated for doing adequate monitoring evaluation of the actions, which is often not being done. And this also means resources for not just M&E, but also to ensure that the actions are redesigned and refined so that the actions indeed actually lead to transformative actions. And I think Rajanji's point, which I'm going to mention now, is when we talk about investments for addressing key drivers of resilience. So here it has to encompass being very proactive management of environmental services, ecosystem services. So it has to be integrated as a part of the resilience key drivers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. Moving swiftly on to the seventh table, and they were discussing supporting the incubation of businesses and the formation of cadres of mountain entrepreneurs and business leadership, particularly among women and youth. Please.
Thank you, Andrew. So the table quite liked this action item and thought it was an important one and should be kept. And there was a lot of thinking how it could be taken forward. One was forming a chain for enabling entrepreneurs, which would consist of training and capacity building, and then incubation and mentorship, and angel funds who give money, and then larger scale funding, so once you've been incubated and mentored, and then a fourth step around outreach and branding and advocacy. And all of this requiring an ecosystem, an enabling environment to support this. So what is it that makes business different in the mountain and hills of the HKH? So having that kind of larger mountain branding, if you like, or image, well, it's always been a circular mountain economy, one of thrift and one of reuse and one of sustainability. So that could be really something to latch on to and use as what is specific about HKH mountain business. There's a big challenge around the banks and the more traditional funding agencies, so that needs to be looked at. So how can mountain entrepreneurs be funded? And socially excluded groups, women and youth also. There's a lot of initiatives, a lot of incubators already out there. So could we get to know them a bit better and link them with other networks and value chain work, etc. And lastly, ways forward. One, scaling up. We need to do a lot more on scaling up. Two, go regional. So we need to have regional HKH branding. Could we have a regional mountain business forum each year to bring together all these entrepreneurs? And we need more cross-border trade. It's just really difficult to get your products to another country in the region. With that, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Moving on to Table 8, who were discussing ways to encourage ICT use, RS and GSS technologies for data and information generating and sharing.
Thank you very much. So, given that our table looked explicitly at technology and GIS, we surprisingly talk nearly not at all about technology. And that has a good reason. One is we thought, of course, we know there are data gaps, there is data that is not being shared and all this, but the number one thing that actually really is missing for this region, and that resonates to our work at ICIMOD very much, is there is no common vision for what data needs to be there and can inform real sustainable mountain development. So if we have this vision, then we can very easily look into the data gaps, into who does this, and so on and so forth. The second point is that a huge problem is that so many actors do the same work. A lot of work is not being done at all. So what we need to do is a rigorous mapping of which institutions generate this data, and then who analyzes it, who disseminates it, and who uses it in the end. The third point is, of course, and we all know this, we really need to work on increasing the accessibility of data. That is a huge problem, and we had a discussion about, is the access more important or the sharing? And we came to the result, really first the access, and the sharing is an active exercise, then that is the next step. And maybe one last point is, when we have done this mapping exercise, so we know who are all the different actors, but what then really needs to happen is rigorous coordination between all the different actors for data sharing and rationalizing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Action agenda item number 9 refers to building short and long-term funding arrangements that are consistent, flexible and responsible. Please.
Yeah, thank you. And for 2 rounds, we only have 4 participants. I think it's very few participants for this group. I don't know why, but maybe it's a difficult topic for everybody. So what's missing for the list here? I think we're missing because we're looking at the long-term, short-term investment arrangement. The short-term is missing there, but also identify maybe we not necessarily have regional investment, but also need country level arrangements. So for short-term, we should identify discrete time-bound investment opportunities, and also maybe showcase that maybe can contribute to long-term investment arrangements. So people will have to see what's the short term, because donors may be looking for the short-term returns. That's the first one. Second one, because a lot of people don't know what the investments they can get, what the benefits they can get. So we identify, maybe we should highlight, maybe visualize the benefits of investment in HKH region with time frame. That's also very important, because donors are also looking for that. And also, one point also mentioned that maybe also through government lead investment plan, we should also action plan for HKH by 2019, and also engage with the local communities with the beliefs and trust and the credits. So I suppose I can working together with all stakeholders. And we only have 4 participants, so maybe they can add on with that, whatever I'm missing here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Table number 10, we're discussing how to significantly accelerate gender transformative change as a prerequisite for a resilient HKH.
Yes,
please.
Thank you. Very good topic, but we also had, I think just like number 9, I was expecting, given the topic, my table will be full, but I have only few. I think, can my friends stand up? Yes, only few, but young minds, definitely young minds. So we discussed at 2 levels. One is at the policy. So what our young minds are saying is definitely at policy level, we have to start engaging with the parliamentarian committees in the region, and also start engaging more and more with the kind of women commissions at the regional level. So I think that needs to be accelerated. Something is happening, but it has to be accelerated. At the implementation level, the message for cornerstone for women entrepreneurship or sustainable development, all for a need for a forum of gender champions in the region, very important, and for example, what ICIMOD is doing is we have this good celebration of International Women's Day. I think the call now is to be expanded a bit further and include at a regional level to celebrate gender champions for a good cause. Thank you.
And finally, I call on for table 11, discussing ways in youth.
Thank you. We group, including leaders, banks, and more research, some doers also achieve something in their work. And we had a good fortune of having Sri Rajan Singh ji and also Mangchu Kanduk. So here comes my point. Celebrate the success of a mountain. Create groups whom the youth couple that they stay back in the mountains, and then they can really do what be a role model, and they stay back and follow their role model. That will go a long way in youth in mountains and taking care of them further. Create them. All these people to train to mentor 4 or 5 young models who can read the future models in the mountains. Then only they will be interested to continue working in the mountains. Create opportunity and get them on board what kind of opportunity is needed. Preserve so that they could make labor or everything possible. And most importantly, most all time online, penetrate the technology and system in the remotest youth so they are not feeling out of place or totally left of a system when they are remote areas working, doing something, excellent participants. And finally, youth are leader of today, not of tomorrow. So they are into decision system. They are part of it. To do that, create by which we define age range of example came that you and say 24, but all government main South Indian 55 and EU. So part of 2 years of age will be there in the age of 40. So that is important to let define and make sure that their generation is decision making body. Yes, that was it. Thank you very much. All the
Well, thank you very much indeed, everyone, for narrating so many good ideas. Now, to sum up and bring this, I'd like to call Flip to the... Over to you.
Thank you, Andrea. We will go for lunch at 1 o'clock. Wow, who had expected that? I think it was really great. A big thank you to all of you. This was the creation of an action agenda. A lot of good ideas, some bit of new ideas, which is exciting. And, going for all of us, fired out of this action agenda, we will, now I guess, a few others which are in and continue working on this drafting. At some point it will be shared, I imagine. Yes, okay. We did that over the last 2 or 3 days, so we're doing it as we go along. So, but this would be very much kind of off document, right? Did I do that? No. And over back to you, right? Thank you very much. Thank you.